Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Flying Solo Lunch and Learn today. Thank you for joining me. I would like to just remind everybody that this presentation is general in nature only and is not or can't be constituted as bespoke financial advice. So it's just for informational purposes today. Thank you. So who am I? Financial advisor, strategist, and coach. I'm also a liver of life and a maker of mistakes. And even though I have degrees in accounting and psychology, I also have personal experience and know how scary it can be going it alone. I've worked with hundreds of clients over the last 12 years here at Enable Me, helping people navigate those important life decisions and make plans to help you feel that you are not alone. My job is to give you financial confidence, help you be better and do better with money, to save more faster, to get in control of your money rather than feeling like your money is in control of you, to get you ready for retirement, even though it might be a long way away, and to help you think about being more ambitious, making your money work harder for you, and growing your wealth. Today's agenda, we are talking about why it's really important to have a plan when you are on your own. You know, in some ways, even more important than when you are in a family or couple situation. We want to look at the things you could do to protect your financial future and to build the life that you love. That's what we're all about. We want you to get ahead faster, but living the life that you love. The most important relationship you have in life is with yourself. I mean, it sounds a little bit trite to say, you know, think of yourself first, but it's really true. And it applies even if you're not on your own. When we're thinking about getting ahead faster, making a financial plan, we are really wanting to make sure that you have got yourself sorted first. And when you are on your own, it is really important to embrace yourself and take a risk on yourself to be the best that you can be within the bounds of what you're working with. Why it's really important to have a plan, because especially at the moment, we know from research published and our own research, we know that people are just not sorted for retirement. 97% of people are worried about the cost of living, and 56% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's pretty scary. Financial independence means different things to different people, but these are where we would like to start thinking about what financial independence could mean to you. And I think at the beginning, the most important thing is to know, you know, have you got a grasp on what are your numbers? What money is coming in and is available to make things work? What money are you spending? What of your spending, what is essential and what is not? Are you frittering money? Can you build your cash? Can create more of a surplus than what you're doing at the moment, maximizing that surplus and have a little bit of cash set aside for emergencies. So important. You know, we've seen it during the GFC, we've seen it during the COVID event and other weather shocks that we've had. We've seen it in the recession that we are going through and just seeming to come out of. It's crucial that we're able to achieve a buffer for emergencies. Once we've got over that hurdle, we're looking at how can we do even better? What strategies and levers can we pull in order to get you ahead faster? That includes looking at your short, medium, and longer term goals. We also want to know that there's a plan B. We want to do some modelling. We want to look at what options you've got. We want to know that in the event of a crisis, there are other ways that you can manage your situation. And we're looking at all of the people around you that are your support network. The reality is that getting ahead on your own is harder or can be harder. You know, there's only one of you. So you're the one that's bearing the cost of the rent or the mortgage. Your share of it can't be split between yourself and a partner. There's only one income to present to a bank if you're in a position to apply for a loan. That can be overwhelming in itself, along with decision overwhelm. You know, if you're applying for a loan from a bank, there's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through. There's documents that you have to provide. But, you know, it's really important to set out a plan of how you're going to be able to do that. You know, write yourself a list, tick something off, you know, one step a day. If that's not, or that feels overwhelming, one step a week. You know, put together those documents that you might need for a loan application. Even though it feels overwhelming and you're not sure which bank to go with or how to structure your debt, you know, don't not embrace that decision overwhelm. It's a case of just drilling down, working out what your options are, writing a list of pros and cons, and, you know, getting some help if you need to tease out what can be the best outcome for you and what are the steps are that you can take to get there. Of course, you know, some of us have unhelpful family members that like to think that their advice would be welcome, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. You know, that's when it's perhaps even more important to consider working with a financial advisor who's experienced in the area, or a coach who is, you know, had a lot of clients in that situation, has done it for years, and is an independent sounding board. There's probably no kind of decisions that you might face that we here haven't faced with clients in the past. So we have quite a huge knowledge bank of tips and tricks and strategies to help. And where do we start? Well, we start with some good systems. We look at getting the foundations right. Because we haven't got a whole heap of time today, I thought I would just focus on the first three shown in the slide, which is getting our foundations around our money habits and our goal setting and our cash flow management, getting those solid so that we can then look to what are the best ways and strategies that we can bring to the party to clear debts, reorganise your mortgage, look at things that we might offer, such as an insurance or KiwiSaver review, and then, you know, layering in wealth plans on top of that. So when we're first thinking about a plan, you know, we're looking at what is your natural tendencies around money. And this starts with us trying to identify whether you fall into one of three general categories: a shopper, a saver, or a plotter. I'm sure we can all imagine what the definitions of those are, but it's really to do with what comes naturally to you. Do you really enjoy seeing money grow? Or do you really enjoy spending money? It slips through your fingers a little bit. Or can you show elements of both, where you might be able to save money quite well, but it just doesn't quite stick because you're also really good at shopping as well? What we know about money behaviours or money personalities is that we have to look at the behaviours first, because knowing something is not really the same thing as doing it. You know, where a coach can come in here is that really it's very important that we not only make the plan, but that we are able to execute on the plan in the time frame that we need to. We also know that having more money or earning more money, you know, a lot of people think that, oh, the answer to all my problems is I just need to get a pay rise. And of course, that's great if you can do that. But what we know is that earning more money doesn't necessarily translate into financial success, because often that just goes hand in hand with spending more money, especially if there's no accountability. So once we've been able to understand what kind of money personality you fall into, then we know what type of levers we need to pull to help you get ahead. we know that financial success can be attributed not so much to the strategy, although it's very important to have a strategy and to execute. It's the behavior that is going to lead to you executing on the strategy or not. We look at your approach to risk. So I think one of the benefits of going solo is that we only have to manage one person's comfort around risk. So people tend to fall into one of three categories: a safety warden, adventurer, or dreamer. You know, a safety warden, if you're naturally a saver and a safety warden, then one of the issues that we have to help with is how do we actually take a bit more risk if that's appropriate for your situation. A safety warden is not going to leave the safe harbour. So that's where a coach can work alongside them to nudge them towards their goals a bit faster or smarter. An adventurer is happy to take a few risks, so they might need to have some guardrails and up alongside them to make sure that they don't go completely off the reservation. And a dreamer, they tend to be the sort of people that think that the universe will just provide for them, and from time to time that might be the case, but it's not really a way to come up with a robust financial plan. Then we look at your willpower and your motivation to act, because this is really important when we are thinking about goal setting and achievement of goals. And so we follow Gretchen Rubin's 4 categories of willpower that she's been able to identify to see whether, if you're an upholder, then you do respond well to internal and external goals. You just need to have that set goal and you'll go for it. On the other extreme, you've got the rebel who isn't likely to respond well to being told what to do. So you almost have to tell them to do the opposite to get them to act. An obliger will be, and 70% of people tend to fall into this category, where they respond well to external goals. So these people can really benefit from working with a coach. They just need a plan, they need their goals, some accountability, and checking in with their coach to make sure that they're on track. And a questioner, they need to really drill down and explore and understand what are the benefits to acting. So it is really important for us to understand your tendencies. It's absolutely critical when you're going solo, because there's just nothing to fall back on. Knowing your tendencies will help us to guide you when we're thinking about cash flow management, because remember, our first goal is to know your numbers. So we want to look at the fritter. Fritter is not something that you get at the fish and chip shop. It's money that you're spending that doesn't really add to your enjoyment of your life. So an example could be the number of coffees that you're buying. If you are buying them, that's fritter in itself, by the way, but you might pay for one a day. By the time you're having your 5th one, it's not adding 5 times more enjoyment to your life, unless it is. So we find that often the categories where people are frittering money can fall into the ones mentioned. So these are all our starting points for making sure that we can explore where there could be savings and tactics to be applied there, so that we can save money and really increase our bottom line. Because remember, it's not about what you earn as much as what you don't spend. So if we can maximize that and do something a bit smarter with it, then that's going to be one of our first foundations of the plan. The benefits, of course, when you are on your own is that you're really forging ahead your own path, you're sailing your own ship, and you're not bogged down by other people's tendencies or comfort with risk or problems that they've got themselves into, short-term debts, for example. You're really building up something which is yours to keep. You're master of your own destiny, so you have the ability to prioritize where you spend money, what assets you buy, and how you divest yourselves of them. So you're really the one that is in command. And really, ideally, you've got some support in order to help you with that decision overwhelm, and to guide you through many of the storms that you might face when you are on your own. We really want to turn your position into one of financial success. So why do we need to focus on that? Well, the reality is that money makes the world go round. And yes, we know that money doesn't buy happiness, but we know that not having it, it generally leads to more unhappiness. So we want to do the best that we can, really focus on what options are available to you so that you can create more options. And when we meet people initially and they say to us, you know, I just want to have financial freedom, I always think to myself, what they're really saying is, I want options. You know, I don't want to have to keep working, especially post 65. You know, if I don't have to, I'll keep working if I want to, if I'm doing something that I love, that really makes my soul sing. But I don't want to have to keep working if I don't want to. So in order to achieve that, we need to have a strategy and a plan up front early on so that we can start to bring that to life. And I think about one of my clients who I've worked with for a few years, and we made a plan for early retirement, as I have done many times with different clients. But at 58, she has retired and, you know, living the life that she loves, and she has enacted the plans that we put in place some time ago. And she said to me, I never could have done this, never would have even thought it was possible without Enable Me. We want to obviously improve financial security so that you can manage risk when it comes up, volatility or crisis situations. We want you to have that firm base so that you know how to go about solving a problem when it comes along, because that's one thing certain in life, it will come along. So we want to have those plans in place and plan Bs and buffers and safety nets so that we can catch you if something does go wrong. To a lot of people, they're interested to know how they can help their children or leave a legacy for causes that they care about. We would say absolutely 100%, that's where we want to get to in the long term, but we've got to make sure that you are sorted first. And we also want to nudge you to be more ambitious for those people that have the capacity and the appetite to be more ambitious. Financial success differs from person to person, but we know that it starts with increasing the savings where you can. For some people, it's getting mortgage free, and this is one of our pinnacle pillars, if you like, that we work to first. We are all about getting our clients mortgage free as fast as possible within the bounds of the goals that they've told us are important to them. But we want to get rid of the bank as soon as we can. We can quantify the interest dollars that you will save if you follow our advice around how to optimally structure your debt. We also want to layer in the other things that are important in life for some people. That is consumer things such as buying a new car, you know, renovating or having an overseas trip with the family. All of that has to be part of our plan. Otherwise, it's not real. And of course, as I've said, we do want to be able to help loved ones, but we do want to make sure that we have got yourself sorted first. There's lots of ways that you can look at building wealth once we have got our foundation solid. These are some of the investment options that you might consider, and obviously they all have different ways of working and different risks and returns. Generally, we would say, you know, things that are a bit more risky tend to have higher returns, or if you're looking for higher returns, you're likely to be taking more risk. So we want to understand what money can go into these asset classes if appropriate, and we want to understand what the risks and returns are around the asset classes. Sometimes we look at the graph where we say, well, you know, if you've got money in the bank or in a term deposit, the chances are you're not going to get a huge return on that, but it's reasonably safe, not 100%, but reasonably safe. And then as you go up the graph, once you're investing in the share market or in a business, yes, those elements come with those assets come with elements of risk, but it's also likely that they will have higher returns over time as well. We also want to look at ways that you can secure your financial independence. So we have advisors with Enable Me and Advice First who can help you just explore whether insurance is appropriate for you. Our coaches here at Enable Me, we are not experts in that area, but we can help you navigate the cost, whether it's okay within your plan, and we can introduce you to our colleagues at Advice First to really understand if it's appropriate for you to have some more cover or change your cover. Because we know that, many people are overinsured, but many people are also underinsured, and many people are inappropriately insured. So if you can have an advisor to hold your hand all the way through that process, and especially at claim time, then this really can be a very, very important way of securing financial independence. Legal, of course, we want to make sure that your assets are protected. It's very important when you're on your own to make sure that you know that your assets in the event of your death will be distributed in accordance with your wishes. Or if you suffer a trauma, that the person that is going to be making decisions about your care and about your property is, first of all, appointed by you, and second of all, knows what your wishes are. So really important to have a valid will, powers of attorney. If you're entering in a new relationship, really important to understand that you need a relationship property agreement, and possibly having your assets in trust. It's really important for you to partner and get good advice in those areas. And really important that you express and document your wishes so that it is not unclear at the end, because that can add added stress and money and time for your loved ones that are trying to work out what your wishes were after the fact. So we really, financial success does mean taking a bit of a chance on yourself. As I said, if you're finding yourself newly solo, it can come with huge emotional, financial, and physical and mental shocks. I have been there myself. I do know that it is really scary and overwhelming, and it's really hard to understand, how am I going to be okay, and will I be okay? And I think the first thing to do is just to write a list. I'm a great person for lists. Write your list of all the things that you need to be thinking about, and then prioritize your list for what is the next most important thing to be doing right now to help myself get into a better place. And then if you can tick off one of those tasks a day, that might feel too much, it might be a week, but it is so rewarding to be able to just tick off one small task. If in doubt, just take the next small step, is what I always say. You don't have to be on your own. Yes, you could reach out to friends and family or people you know who have been through it themselves. You might have found yourself single through choice or not through choice. Some of those family members and friends may have experience and be a great source of support. But if you can have an independent guide working with you, that's, I think, even better, because they're able to help you from a practical sense, work out what those steps are and what that plan should be, and just taking some of the scariness and the emotion out of the decision-making process, especially because we have worked with clients, as I say, for years, helping them through similar situations. So Enable Me will help diagnose where you're at right now. More importantly, though, where you would like to get to. If you're naturally on track for that, great. In our experience, almost no one is. Most people have no idea what they're spending or what they need for retirement. So then we want to work out, well, how could we partner with you to get you there faster or better or in a more ambitious way? So we would meet with you. We want to design that strategy and become your trusted sounding board. Importantly, we want you to be able to execute on your plan despite all the setbacks and obstacles that you might be facing. Move you forward faster. Because as I said, a lot of people know what they should be doing. It's the actual doing of it that can sometimes be the problem. So we want to increase the odds of you landing where you need to in the time frame that you need to, achieving the goals that you want to, and helping those your loved ones along the way if that's your goal as well. We help with the heavy lifting because we've done it all before. And most importantly, we hold you accountable to executing on the plan. And that really is the game changer, in my opinion. So you are invited to come and meet with one of our coaches if you would like to formulate your own plan or just to see what is possible, what you might be capable of achieving. If you connect in with us today, you will pay $149 for your 90-minute consultation, or 60 to 90 minutes. We want to understand, how we can possibly help you to navigate the plans that you're looking to make or the obstacles that you have. We want to assist you with strategies to make you feel that you're on your way to gaining financial independence and financial security. I think we've got a few minutes if we've got any questions.
Thank you very much, Liz, for that great presentation. We did get a lot of questions through, so we won't have enough time to answer them all, but I think, Liz, you covered a lot of them beautifully throughout the presentation. But I'll throw one in there. This one is around, do you have any advice for a single parent considering switching to a career with a lower salary, just so that they can spend more time with the kids?
Yeah, great question. And, that is a consideration, isn't it? I've got 3 children myself. They're always my priority. I think that that's very admirable. And if you can bring it off or pull it off, fantastic. So first of all, I think it does involve understanding what your bottom line is. So if you can work out exactly what your life is costing you with the essential spending and a little bit of the non-essential spending in there, because that's important too, to have a little bit of reward along the way. It doesn't have to be huge, but if you can work out what you absolutely need to be bringing into the household, because that's going to be your absolute minimum. And then you need to back that out to work out what your salary needs to be in order to, after PAYE, ACC, and KiwiSaver, how much does that give you in your hand? And that's really going to be the answer to start with. That would be your minimum of what you need to make it work. There might be savings that you can make within that, because if you find that that income isn't achievable, it might come with, are there other ways that you can look at childcare, for example? So, if you're working part-time, say 3 days a week, does that reduce the childcare to 3 days a week as well? So I think it's really about having a very strong investigation of the spending you need to do in order to make the family work, and then working it back from there.
Thanks, Liz. I think we've probably run out of time for any more questions, but as you did a great job answering them throughout the presentation. So apologies to anyone who we didn't get to. Please email your questions through to us, or better yet, bring them to your FC. So I'll hand it back to you to close off, Liz.
Yes, so if anyone is feeling like they would like to understand more about what we do, the initial consultation Jess mentioned, FC, financial consultation, is usually 60 to 90 minutes. There's a link where you will put in some financial information about yourself first. That just gives the coach a bit of a basis on which to lead the conversation. You don't have to come into an office. It can be done virtually, but we just want to understand where you're at right now and how we might be able to help you achieve your goals more successfully. And if you do scan the QR code or go go on to enable.me and mention Flying Solo Liz, you'll get that discounted consultation. So that seems a really good place to start when you're thinking about saving money. And I look forward to meeting you all again at another Lunch and Learn, or perhaps in a consultation. Thank you very much for your time today. Ka kite.
Thanks, Liz.